Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I'd like to take a minute to talk about the new Momentum game mode in Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, or maybe it's not that new, it's returning from World at War, the old fan favorite War mode, which we're going to talk about quite a bit in this video. The gameplay right now is Black Ops 2. It's not Advanced Warfare because the reveal was on IGN. It's IGN's content, and I'm not allowed to re-upload it. However, I did link their video in the description, so if you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend checking it out so you'll know what I'm talking about here today. And yes, I know the sniping there was not impressive, but this is one of my first games back on Call of Duty after playing a whole lot of Destiny, so my reactions are kind of funny. I'm using the Peacekeeper with a silencer, and I forget the name of this goofy little sight that lets me see through walls, but I'll see a few people through walls and use it to my advantage. I do play very, I would say, aggressively in the beginning, a little more conservative in the middle and aggressive toward the end, and I do get a swarm in this gameplay, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today we're going to be talking about Momentum from World at War. That's War from World at War. Momentum is the Advanced Warfare version of it, because in World at War, the slaying component of this is if you killed a lot of people in a row, if your team was getting a lot of kills but not getting a lot of objectives, you would get this sort of momentum power that would allow you to capture faster. A lot of people wanted perks that would allow you to plant, defuse, or capture objectives faster or something like that, and you could get that in the War mode, but you had to earn it through getting a lot of kills in a short period of time. It was kind of like a kill streak or an aggro meter or something kind of like that. But anyway, World at War is the Call of Duty that I probably played the least because I was really broke at the time that game came out, and I never owned it. I had to borrow it from a friend. I put about 2 months into it maybe before I had to give it back, and I did not personally play a lot of the War game mode. I did play it, but that's why there's no War gameplay right here, is because I just don't own the game. But I only probably played maybe 20 games of War total over the lifespan of the game for me, which may sound like a lot to some people, but considering how many games of TDM or Domination or CTF I've played, that's a absolute drop in the bucket. But the reason that I liked playing it occasionally, I was all into TDM at that time. I didn't Domination too much, I didn't do objectives, I just played TDM, and I like killing people. I like getting my kill streaks, I like sniping, I liked a lot. The PTFO drifter that you see today is really not the drifter that used to play back in the day, and it was kind of a fun game to play because I could play and I could contribute to my team just by killing. I didn't even have to kill that objectively, and it would build up our momentum and let us capture flags faster, and nobody would get mad at me or anything like that. But I am skipping ahead of myself. I should probably talk about how the game mode plays. It's a lot like single OBJ domination, or as I've heard the IGN guys describe it, as linear domination. Imagine if this was a map. Oftentimes there's 5 points, but occasionally there'll be 3 if the map is smaller. Instead of trying to take A, B, and C at the same times, we would only have B flag available, and it would be neutral, and both teams would fight over B flag, and you couldn't even do anything with the other ones. They wouldn't even pop up until they were activated. And let's say my team was really good, we killed all the other guys, and we took B flag, then we would have the opportunity to move over and take C flag from the enemy team. However, they could defend and push us back and take B back, and it just kind of, it's like a tug-of-war, again, what the IGN guys say, but you would have five ways to do this, and you kind of push the line of combat backwards and forwards. And the capturing is a lot like Domination. You got to get on the point, you got to stay on the point, you got to keep it uncontested and kill all the people around you. However, if your team is struggling and you're not doing really well with the objective part and you just kill a whole ton of people, you get a bonus that allows you to capture the flags faster. The standard bonus is 2 times the normal speed. However, if you get on a really crazy spree, you can get, on that game it was called Blitzkrieg, but in Momentum, I don't know what the actual name is on Advanced Warfare, but you can capture the objectives 3 times faster, which is a huge difference. You don't have to stay on the flags very long, and if you have a lot of your teammates on the flags, you can cap them very quickly. The ultimate goal is to capture all the flags in the row, push the enemy team all the way back to one side of the map, which would be their kind of permanent spawn, capture that last flag, lock them down, keep them from taking it back, and win the game. You just kind of push them off the map, so to speak. And it was by no means a bad game mode, and that's probably why it was so popular. Some of the things it had going on that were good about it is that it focused the entire fight into one main area. Now, there were still people like me that would go around the back and flank and hit for funny areas, but in standard Domination, kind of like what we got here, if I want to, I can move all the way around the right side or the left side of the map, and I can try and capture the flag, I can try to spawn flip, I can try to shoot people in the back, and I can actually get objectives back there. However, if I were playing War mode, I could go all the way in the back and kill people and run around like an idiot, but I can only capture the B flag or whatever flag is active. So if I want to help my team, I have to be there in that area, and it really focuses the fight. Because of this, there were overall less people flanking. Now, there were still people like me doing that, just trying to get kills and other things, but it wasn't quite as flippy as domination has a tendency to be. So you had less spawn rotations, you had less spawn flips, you had less weird spawns. You essentially had a line drawn in the sand. We control this side, you control that side, and the spawns usually made sense. They didn't do anything crazy. I mean, you knew that they were going to be spawning on the other side of that line somewhere. And it kind of, in World of War at least, it allowed you to set up a good defense and kind of understand the flow of the map, which I thought was a good thing. And again, from my memories of playing this mode, it was good. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I played it a whole ton, or that I was a master, or that I can promise you that the Advanced Warfare mode of Momentum will even be good, because I haven't played it and I don't know. But the mode that was in World at War, as far as I can remember, was just fine. There was nothing immediately wrong or bad about it, and I enjoyed it in the handful of times I did play it. However, there's an extra set of questions that some people have been talking about. I see this on r/COD competitive and on Twitter and other things, and that's, could the war game mode be competitive? You know, I don't play competitive Call of Duty. I'm not on a pro team. I pub stomp, I guess that would probably be the closest, except I don't really even pub stomp that hard. I just play this game for fun, mostly. I just enjoy playing it, but people want to know how competitive it could be and if it's viable. Now, I talked to, I believe it was Puckett who played, and a few other people that played before it was announced, and he kept telling me about this multiplayer mode that they haven't announced yet, and he wouldn't tell me that it was War or Momentum, and he said that it was supposed to be kind of a one-off, kind of a joke mode that they thought that public players would enjoy but competitive players won't, and he kept telling me about how he thinks it could end up being a really good competitive mode. Anyway, that, I kind of agree. Like, I looked at it and I saw it and I was like, that could actually be a really good competitive game mode, I think, from my more outside perspective than inside. And so we're doing a quick little pros and cons of this, and again, this is just from a casual observation, not because I'm on a team or I'm these guys and I don't really know. But pros, it has extra modes we can play in competitive. Right now in competitive, for Advanced Warfare, you'll have Search and Destroy, you'll have CTF, and you'll have Hardpoint. They're not going to be doing Domination because they really didn't like that. There's no Blitz. We're not doing TDM. It's just those three. And if you add, oh wait, my bad, I almost forgot Uplink. That'll make it 4. We have Uplink. I think they're going to try to play Uplink to try to make that work out. Not sure if that's going to end up like Blitz or not, but you got a lot of options, so it could be dropped. But you could add a 5th one in there, so you could do Momentum. So we could do best of 5s, and they each play, you know, one map on those modes, and you can go all the way through. It kind of gives you more options for vetoing, more variability. So if you only have like 5 or 6 maps that are approved for competitive, or however many, the more game modes you can add to those maps, the more variety you get, the more interesting the stream is. And it kind of should work with 4v4 because it focuses the fight into one little area. That's some of the problems that, you know, you'd have with really huge maps that were designed for 6v6 or 9v9. They didn't really work in 4v4. There was too much empty space. It could get too boring, too campy. When it kind of squeezes the focus of the fight down to one area, so that should work. Kills are important, and so are getting kills and streaks. Not only do you get the kill streaks, but you get the momentum going on. So teams that have really strong slayers can compete with really hard objective guys, and that'll be fun. It's also open to counterplay and comebacks. You definitely can get on a series. You can kill a whole bunch of people. You can get your momentum up. You can cap flags really fast and push the other team back toward the end of the map. And at least from a spectator's perspective, it's really fun to have a game mode where you don't know for certain it's locked in stone. Some modes you can kind of tell when one team gets bad setup or they get on a bad rap. It's super hard to come back from, very improbable. But one that's a little bit more nebulous, one that you can turn really quickly, that could be more fun. So it's open to counterplay and comebacks. However, that can also be a bad thing, which I'm going to talk about in the cons section. Looking at the cons section, if we had too many modes in competitive, that can make the tournaments unduly long or sometimes unbalance the teams, because a lot of teams, they'll get a player that's really good at Search and Destroy or that does these couple of things really well. But we've only got 4 total players and we can't have each one specializing in a game mode, and you have teams that specialize in certain things. Some are really, really good at Search and Destroy, not so much on the respawn. Some slay and respawn and really don't do the Search and Destroy so much, and adding this just kind of makes it, you have the more potential for unbalanced teams that might not be able to practice all these things, might not work out, and tournaments might take forever. And I say that it has the ability to have really good comebacks, but that also kind of punishes people that set up really well. Like if you play really well and you get this awesome start, it kind of sucks to play a fluky game mode. There can be a comeback in a matter of seconds, and I would say Blitz is like that. You can play Blitz all day and set up and be really good, but you make one mistake and the enemy team can just run a train and get a whole bunch of points. However, I feel like it would be more probable that really good players, since there's only one objective, they could kind of force a stalemate. They could kind of slay each other off the objective like mad and kind of keep it from going anywhere, which wouldn't be very fun to watch, but I'd at least like to see them give it a go. You don't know. It might work, might not. If it doesn't, so what? You just drop it. Oh well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.